Welcome to Excise and Licenses online training videos. This video will show you how to apply online for a residential rental property license. There are a couple of steps that you will need to take before you apply online. You want to make sure you go to the residential rental property website to see all required documents for an application. You'll also want to make sure that you have all of your required documents have been filled out and uploaded on your computer. Make sure that they are in a PDF or JPEG format. And then you'll also want to make sure that you have a login to Denver's online permitting and licensing center. If you don't have an account on the online permitting and licensing center, make sure that you register for an account or you use the email and password that you used to create an account before. And then you'll also want to make sure that you have a credit or debit card ready. You may also process a payment from a bank account. You would need the routing number, account holder name, and account type. Now I'm going to walk you through the application process online. So here's Denver's Permitting and Licensing Center. And like I said before, you'll either want to register for an account or log in using your email and password. So here you'll log in using your email and password, and then you'll click on Login. And then here is you'll want to go to the section that says business, occupational, short-term, and residential rental licensing and health licensing citations. And you are applying for a new residential rental property license. So you're going to click here where it says apply new. And then here you are going to scroll down to where it says all other online business licenses and residential rental properties. You're going to click on this circle that says application package, and then you're going to continue application. And then this page tells you what types of licenses are available to apply for on the application package. For this example, we are going to apply for the residential rentals. So you're going to click on continue. And then here it just talks you through the steps you'll take to submit your application package. Step 1, it's going to ask you about the licensed establishment, and that's the actual address of your rental property. And that's the address of where the rental property is located. And then the entity registration is just telling us about you, like whether you have your rental property listed under a corporation or an LLC, or if it's just owned, the property is just owned by you under your name, and that's how you file the taxes for that. So entity registration is just how is the property listed, the ownership listed. Is it under your name? Is it under a company name, etc.? And then the license type is what we're applying for today is the residential rental property license. And then we're going to ask you for contact information. We're going to ask you for your personal contact information. We're also going to ask for an on-site manager contact information, and that's the person that has access to the rental property at all times. And so that has to be a good email and phone number for us to be able to contact. And then there's also contact information that could be available to the general public. And I'll talk about that more in the application process. And then once you've completed all parts of the application, then you'll submit the application package, and then you'll pay for that application package. And then that's when Excise and Licenses will start reviewing your application. So let's get started. And then here is where we start asking you information about your residential rental property. And I just want to make a quick note that at any time you need to step away from the application, do not let your application time out. It will break your application. So if you need to step away from your application or step away from your computer, whatever, you need to click on save and resume and then log out. Do not let the system time out on you because it will break your application. Okay, so this first section here is we are asking about the licensed establishment. And again, it's where your organization or your business operates. But what it really means is what is the location of your rental property? So here, if your rental property has to be within the city and county of Denver in order for us to license that. So we're asking, is your licensed establishment located in Denver? If you say no, then you do not need to continue this application. But if it is located in the city and county of Denver, you click on yes, and then you click on continue application. And then here is we are going to ask you to input the physical location of the residential rental property. And again, you need to be very careful about how you enter the address information, because if you enter it in incorrectly, you will not be able to continue correct it down the road. So you need to be very careful about how you enter in your application information. So for this example, we are going to enter in the address. And so you type in the information, and then you always, once you type in the address, then you click on search. And if the address does not come back with information, if it comes back blank or doesn't exist, then that means you need to get the address created within the city and county of Denver. So you'll need to go to a different department within the city to get that corrected. For this example, the address comes up, and if it comes up with more than one parcel, pick the first parcel, and then if it has associated owners, pick the correct owner, and then you'll click on select. And then it also asks, do you operate out of multiple units, suites, etc. for your address? And for this, we're going to say no, and then you're going to click on continue application. And then here we are asking, what type of license are you going to apply for today? So here you're going to click on add a license, and then you're going to click on the select, and then this gives you the list of licenses that you can apply for. And for this today, we're applying for residential rental license. So you click on that, and then you click on submit. And then, so now you see record type residential rental license. And then we're going to click on continue application. And then here again, the entity registration. This is asking you information about how your residential rental property is listed. Is the ownership listed under you as an individual or a couple? Or do you have, for tax purposes, you have it listed under an LLC or a corporation? So we're asking you, how is your rental property, how is it organized? So for this example, it's saying, hey, did you already create an entity before? Did you tell us about how your entity was registered with the state? And for this example, we're going to say no. None of these apply to our company or our rental property. And then we're going to click on continue application. And then here, it's going to ask you, tell us about the entity or individual who will hold the license. And then here it's asking, have you registered online here an application before under your name or your LLC or your company name? Have you done that before? And if you've had, you would have an entity number, and it would be something like 2022 entity 7 numbers. But for this example, we're going to say this is the first time that you have applied for a license. So we're going to say no. And then again, it's going to ask you, what is your entity type? So again, how is your residential rental property listed? Is the ownership? Is it owned by an individual or a couple? Is it a corporation? Is it a LLC, a limited liability company? Is it a nonprofit corporation? Is it a partnership? Or is it a sole proprietor? And again, that's all tax information. For this example, we're going to say that it's for listed as a residential rental individual or couple. And then we're just going to ask who's the individual or couple that own this property that you're applying for the residential rental property license for. So for this example, we are just going to say enter in the name, and then we are going to click on continue application. And then here is the main contact. And the main contact is who's going to get all of the emails about the residential rental property application, who's going to get the renewal emails, who's going to get the emails when we say we need more information about the application, who is our main contact. And this main contact is anybody within the city and county that works for the city and county of Denver, any of our departments. That's the contact that we are going to contact if we have any questions about your residential rental property as the owner. So you'll put in your information, and then we will fill in the first name, the last name, the email address. And again, you want to make sure that it is a valid email address. And then the phone numbers don't autofill correctly, so you have to manually type in the phone number. And again, you want to make sure that these are valid emails and phone numbers. And then you'll click on continue application. And then here you're going to say continue application again. And then here it's the mailing address. So the mailing address for the residential rental property, and it doesn't have to be the address of the residential rental property, but if you want any mail or anything regarding this application or this license, what's the address that we would use to mail information to? So you'll enter in the first line, the second line, if you have a second line for the address, the city, the state, and the zip, and then you'll click on continue. And then again, you're going to click on continue application. And then you also have the option to add in an optional email notification recipient. And this is just someone else that you also want to have access to all of the emails and information about the residential rental property. If you want more than one email, you can add a new email recipient. For this example, we're going to leave that blank, and we're going to click on continue application. Okay, and it's very important that you review all of this information, because once you go past this page, you cannot update the name, the company name. You cannot update the address. You cannot update anything regarding this after this after this page. So if you see that you need to update the address, you could click on edit, go back to that part of the application and fix it. Or if you need to update the company name, you can update that here by clicking on edit, and it'll go back to that part of the application to fix it. But be very careful and review this page to make sure that everything is entered in correctly. Phone numbers, emails, mailing address, etc. Be very careful and review everything. And then you'll also want to make sure that you read the oath of application. Once you've read that, and if you agree to it, you'll check this box, and then we're going to create the application package. Okay, so here is where we're going to start filling out the information regarding the individual portions of the application package. You'll click on start for each section, and then once you're finished with each section, it will change to complete/edit. And then this here, the submit application that's grayed out right now, will be highlighted in blue once you're finished with each part of the application. So for this, we are going to click on start. And again, if you need to get anything or you need to walk away from the application, as always, save and resume and log out. Don't let your application time out or it will break the application. So again, we're going to click on start. And then here it's just saying this is the entity type you registered. You're applying as a residential rental individual or couple, and then the name of the entity that you input. And then you can't edit anything in here, so you'll just click on continue application. And then here it's just telling you the information that we are going to gather. If you have registered as an individual or couple, you will need to have a valid ID for both individuals. If it's just one individual, you just need one ID. If you have two individuals, you need to provide both valid IDs, and you'll need to combine them into one PDF document or a JPEG document. And then and then we also want all of the ownership information, like your address, phone number, date of birth, things like that. So then you're going to click on continue application, and then here it asks you for a trade name. And a trade name is more for like a company or something like that. And so if there's like a big ABC company, and it's ABC Company LLC, but they do business as C Town or something like that. That's what the trade name is. It's how they do business, and that's like the name of the sign on their building. For this example, we're just going to leave it blank, and then you can click on continue application. And then here it's saying that you are registering as a individual or a couple. So you need to edit the information because we need to fill out the home address, the city, the state, the zip of the home address, the date of birth, the direct phone number, email, etc. So you'll click on edit selected, and then you're just going to enter in all of the information. So you're going to type in the home address, and that's the city. The street number and street name, the city, the state, the zip code, and then the birth date of the individual. And so you'll enter in that information, and then their phone number and their email. And then we also ask for ethnicity, race, and gender. It is not required for you to fill this information out, but if you would like to, you can click on the drop down boxes and fill that information out. And then again, that's for ethnicity, race, and gender. And then you'll click on submit. And then here you're going to click on continue application. And then here they're asking for general contact information. And again, this general contact information will be viewable by the public. If the public asks for contact information for specific licenses, this information will be viewable by the public, and it is required information. So again, we ask that you give us a good phone number and email address, and then you will click on continue application. And then here it's asking you to upload the valid ID for the individual or couple. And so you'll want to make sure that that document is on your computer and it is in a PDF or JPEG document. And so you'll click on upload, and then you are going to find that ID in your computer. You'll click on that document, and then you are going to upload that onto the application. And so now we have all of the documents required for this portion of the application. And then you're going to click on continue application. And then here again is another review page, and you'll want to make sure that you review the ownership information and make sure that you entered in everything correctly. And if you didn't, you can click on the edit button, go back and edit that portion. Same for the general contact information. And then you also want to make sure that you uploaded the correct document. And if you didn't, you can go back to that portion of the application and upload the correct document and remove the incorrect one. Otherwise, you'll read the oath of application, read the entire thing. If you agree to it, check that box and then click on continue application. Now we're going to start this portion of the application, the licensed establishment. And again, the licensed establishment is talking about the physical rental property address. So we're going to ask you information about the licensed establishment. So here is the address. And again, you can't update that address information. And then if you need to add additional units or suites, you can add that information here. If you have multiple apartments or something at an apartment complex that you rent out, you can enter that in here at this in this information. And then you're going to click on continue application. And then here it's telling you about the information that we're going to request. And we are going to request, if you want to name your location name, like just a nickname, so you can remind yourself which address this is regarding this license is talking about. You can add a location name, it's not required. And then you also have the on-site manager information. You have to have at least one on-site manager, and you can have up to 3. And again, you're going to need their name, their date of birth, their home address, and their contact information. And then we're going to click on continue application. And again, it's asking about your location name. And for this example, we're just going to leave that blank. And then we're going to click on continue application. And then here we're asking you about your on-site managers. And again, if you need to have at least 1, or you can have up to 3. And for this example, we're going to add in 1, and we're going to put in that information. So you want their first name, their last name, their address, their city, their state, their zip code, and then their date of birth, and then a good phone number and a good email, and also their position. And we want to make sure that this is a valid email and phone number, because if any city agency has a question about the rental property and we need to get in contact with somebody, we need a good on-site manager to contact. And so we'll click on continue application. And then here it's asking you, do you own or rent the property? And it doesn't mean that you're renting the property out to someone else. It means, do you rent the property from someone? For most of these examples, you're going to be the property owner. So you're going to click on own, and then you're going to click on continue application. And then again, you're just going to audit everything and make sure all of the information is correct. If you need to edit anything, you can click on the edit button next to that section and go back and update that within the application. And then you'll want to make sure that you read the entire oath of application. If you agree to that, you're going to click the checkbox, and then you're going to click on continue application. All right, and then we're going to complete the final portion of the application, and that's the residential rental license portion. So you're going to click on start. And again, it's just saying this is the name that the license is going to be under, and it's for this address. And then we're going to click on continue application. And then this page tells you all of the information that we are going to ask you to complete this portion of the application. And the 2 documents that you'll want to make sure that you have uploaded to your computer is the completed home inspector checklist. And then you'll also want a copy of the home inspector certifications for the residential rental license. And then you'll also just read through the rest of the information required for this application. And all of these requirements are also listed on the website. And we are going to now click on continue application. And then we're going to start asking you some questions about the property. And so it's going to ask, have you had your inspection completed by an inspector that was certified by one of these agencies? And then was your inspection completed within the last 90 days? And do you have a copy of the passing inspection checklist to upload? For this example, we are going to say yes to everything, and then we're going to click on continue application. If you don't have everything, you'll definitely want to click on that save and resume and log out and go get that information before you continue the application. And then here it's asking, are you a new construction seeking to apply with an exemption from inspection? Again, for this example, we are going to say no. But if you want to know how to be exempt from inspection, you would click on this, and then that would take you to the website to give you more information. Otherwise, you're going to say no, and then you're going to click on continue application. And then here again, it's asking, are you seeking an exemption from inspection via local, state, or federal agency inspection? And again, if you click on this, it will give you the criteria to be exempt from inspection. Otherwise, we are going to say no, and then we're going to continue the application. And then here we're asking you for the date of the inspection. And so we are going to ask you, and it has to have been within the 90 days. And so you're going to click on the date that the inspection was held, and then you're going to state which agency inspected. So you'll choose one of these agencies that inspected your property. And then also it's going to ask you when the International Code Council when was the inspection date of that. And again, you're going to enter in that date, and then you're going to certify under penalty of perjury that the dates entered above are true to the best of your knowledge, and the documents attached to confirm include the same correct and accurate information. And if you agree to that, you are going to check that box, and then you're going to continue the application. And then here it's just asking you about how many rental units do you have, in what type of unit is being rented, and what is the exact number of rental units you will offer under the license. So on the first one, is it a single dwelling unit? Is it a multiple dwelling? Is it 2 through 10, 11 through 50, etc.? For this example, we're going to say it's 2 through 10 units that are going to be part of this residential rental property license. And then it's asking you, what type are those units? Are they apartments? Are they basement apartments, condominium, detached accessory, etc.? For this example, we are going to say that they are apartments. And then it says, what is the exact number of rental units you will offer under the license between the number 2 through 10? For this example, we are going to say 7. And then you're going to click on continue application. And then here it's asking, for that address, do you have more than one unique address for your property? And if you say yes, it's going to ask you for that additional address. So it says, please list all other addresses at this residential rental property that are on one parcel or contiguous parcels under one ownership. If you have more than one unit with the same address, note all units and addresses in this field. And then if you have any questions about this, you can email licenses@denvergov.org. For this example, we're going to say no, and we're going to click on continue application. And then here it's asking, is this rental property applying for a fee exemption as a qualifying agency? And then if you want to know what a qualifying agency is, you can click on this, and this will take you to the website to explain that in more detail. Otherwise, for this example, we're going to say no, and we're going to click on continue application. And then here it's just asking, do you offer income restricted rental units? So the property that you are applying for a license today, that physical location, is it offered as a income restricted rental unit, or are any of them? And you can answer how many units you have. For this example, we're going to say 0, and you're going to click on continue application. And then here it's just asking, do the tenants pay for utilities separate from the rent collected? And if they do, you would check the boxes. Or if all of these utilities are included in the rent, you could check on that box. And then it also is asking, does your rent property have a smoke-free property policy included in your lease? And you can answer yes or no. For this example, I'm going to say yes. And then you click on continue application. And then here it's asking, what is the primary fuel source for your heating, for your water heating, and for your cooking? And it's either gas, electric, or other. If you say other, you explain. And so for this, we're going to just enter the primary fuel source. And then once all three are answered, we're going to click on continue application. And then here it's asking about ADA accessibility for the rental property that you're applying for. So it's asking, do you have rentals that are ADA accessible by federal guidelines for the rental property that you are applying for today, for this actual address that you're applying for? So for this, we are going to say, for example, we're going to say no. And then if you said yes, it would ask how many units at this physical property location do you have that are ADA accessible, and you would enter in that number. And then it's also asking how many ADA accessible parking spaces are available. If none, write 0. And so you would enter in the 0 if you have no ADA accessible parking units spaces, or you could answer with the number of spaces that you have at that property location. And then also, if applicable, if there's any elevators in the building that the property is located, are any of the elevators in the building ADA accessible? And you could say yes or no, or not applicable. And so you'll answer either way. And then if you have any questions regarding ADA accessibility, you can visit the ADA Standards for Accessible Design. You can click there, and that will take you to that website. Otherwise, you can click on continue application. And then here it's asking, is any owner of this license, family member, or business associate of any owner of this license a current officer, official, or employee of the city and county of Denver? And you can just answer yes or no. And then you can click on continue application. And then here it's asking you to upload the home inspection checklist, the completed home inspection checklist. And then it's asking for copies of both the home inspector certifications. So you will upload those documents. And so you'll click on upload. And for the first one, you are going to upload the home inspector checklist that has been completed by the inspector. And then you are going to also upload the certifications for that inspector, and you can combine those into one document, and you will upload those. And then so we have both documents uploaded, and then you will click on continue application. And then here you are going to read this complete statement. And if you agree to the entire statement, you will check this box. So you are declaring under penalty of perjury that you have the legal property rights or have been granted authority by the legal property owners to obtain a residential rental property license for the property or properties for which you are applying for a license. And then it says you declare that all executed documents are true, accurate, complete, and valid. And you say, by checking this box, you certify that you have carefully read and understood this attestation, and that you have had the opportunity to consult with legal counsel, and that you are knowingly and voluntarily submitting this application in compliance with this attestation and all applicable laws. And then if you agree to everything and you understand everything, you will click that checkbox, and then you will click on continue application. And then here you are going to read all of these statements, And if you agree to all of the statements regarding the residential rental property license, and you will check the box next to each statement, and then you will also click on continue application. Make sure you read all of those statements carefully and then check the box if you agree. And again, you have an opportunity to review all of the information for this part of the application. And if anything needs to be corrected, you could click on the edit button next to that section and go back into the application and correct that. So make sure that you review everything correctly and that you review it for accuracy. And then once you have reviewed everything, you'll read the oath of application. And again, if you agree to that, you'll check that box and you will click on continue application. Then now you have completed each section of that application, and then you're going to submit the application package so it can calculate the fees that you will need to pay. So you're not done with submitting the application. You're just now calculating the fees. Okay, so now you are able to pay the fees. So what you're going to do is you're going to click there, but also for your records, you want to write down these numbers. They will also be listed in your account, but if you want to write down these numbers, like your entity number, which is your company name that I was talking about earlier in the video, and then the license number and the licensed establishment number. But otherwise, you can click here, and that's going to take you back to your records. And then you are going to look for your pay fees due, and you're going to click on pay fees due. And then that's going to tell you how much your fees are going to be to pay. And then you're going to click on continue application. And then now it's going to redirect you to a third-party payment page. So that takes just a second. And then again, it's telling you how much you're going to pay. And it tells you what the license number is that you're paying for and the application that you're paying for. And then so you're going to click on checkout now. And then here you can enter in the payment information. If you're using a credit card, you can use a Discover, a MasterCard, or a Visa. Or if you're using paying from a bank account, you would need the routing number and the account number and the account holder name and the account type. For this example, we're going to use a credit card. So you click on the credit card, and then you are going to say what type of credit card you're using. For this example, I'm going to say a Visa, and then you enter in the credit card information. So the credit card number, the expiration date, and the zip code for the billing address on that credit card. And you'll enter in all of that information, and then you'll click on complete transaction. Okay, and so then this is your receipt for your application. You definitely want to make sure that you print this screen and make a copy for your records, because we do not email copies of the receipt to you. So this is the one thing that you do need to make sure that you print a copy of this for your records. Otherwise, you can go back to your online center, and then you can click on My Records, and then you click on Business Licenses. And then this is just going to show you all of the applications that are under your login account. And you can see here that we have a pending application submitted for the residential rental license under this company name and at this address location. That's where the rental property is located. And then so now you'll start receiving emails from Excise and Licenses letting you know that we've received your application and that we are going to start the review process within 7 business days. And so make sure that you view your email for any emails from us. And if you're not seeing anything, make sure you check your spam or your trash folder to make sure that emails from us are not being routed into those folders in your email. But otherwise, the review process will start within 7 to 10 business days. That does not mean the application will be complete within that time. It just means that we have up to 7 to 10 business days to start the review process for your application. All right, so that's going to complete this training video. I'd like to thank you for watching this Denver Excise and Licenses video, and I hope that you have a great day. Thank you.